Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you a survivor of abuse or other trauma? Are you tired of feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? This is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with more inner peace and joy. Are you ready to eliminate suffering from your life and transform from a survivor to thriver? Then congratulations, you are in the right place. Let's get started. Hey, so happy to have you back with me for the Survivor to Thriver show. We have been talking about the teaching that love is born of compassion. Today, I want to take some more time to discuss this teaching and frame it in the context of how I experience it in my relationship with my brother. My relationship with my brother is one of the prime examples of how I experience and express unconditional love in my life. Love, which is an experience of oneness with another. Oneness at the level of essence. And for me to talk to you about this, I need to give you a little bit of context, a little bit of the background about my brother's condition. He was born with a genetic disorder, a neuromuscular degenerative disorder, because of which his muscles have been growing weaker over time. At this point in his life, he's almost 36 years old, and he has been in a wheelchair, unable to stand or walk for the last 18 years or so. His hands have limited functionality. His voice has been growing weaker. His lungs have been growing weaker. So now every night we actually have to hook him up to a BiPAP machine to make sure that he is able to breathe properly while he's sleeping. And I am one of my brother's primary caretakers. I still live with my family, with my parents, my brother, my sister. And for us, it is undoubtedly a family effort to help take care of him. Each one of us contributes in different ways to helping take care of him. I don't know if you have somebody in your life where you have had to take care of somebody. Perhaps a relative, a loved one who got sick or has a disability. Or if you're a parent, think of how you have had to take care of your child when they were young, especially when they were a baby, and so dependent on you for their well-being. It is not an easy thing to be responsible for another person's life and well-being. And now imagine this in the context of, let's say you're a new parent. When you first become a parent, and of course you love your child, and you love your child unconditionally. There's no doubt about that. But it is a challenging experience, and it takes time to get used to the process of having to suddenly shift your focus from just your needs, or maybe you and your partner's need, so now there's this third person, this third being in your life, and they need your attention, they need your care, and they need it at a level beyond anything that you may have needed to do or give anyone else in your life previously. And it can be very overwhelming. Just think of the sleepless nights that you have to endure and get used to, and you do it because you love your child, you love your baby, and you're willing to do whatever needs to be done to take care of them. But when we have help and support in the process, it can make the whole process so much easier. If there's someone else besides you who can wake up in the night to calm down the baby and feed it and put it back to sleep, so you are not the only one who has to fulfill that role and that responsibility. Or if you have a passion in your life, there's some great mission that your life is devoted to have someone else in your life who can take care of your baby for a few hours, even if it's just for a few hours in a day, so that you can go out in the world and focus on something else. What a big help that is. So in our family, that is the kind of help and support that we give each other in taking care of my brother. And one of this, and this is part as in the context of this process that I have my experience of unconditional love, of the sense of oneness with my brother. I can tell you that I love him and I accept him just as he is. And I know that he loves me and accepts me just as I am. And there are all kinds of little big things that happen in the everyday course of our lives because of which I know this to be true. Just one of the little things, for example, I remember 2-3 years ago, my brother ended up in the ICU because that was the first time that we had a major crisis with him because of his lungs becoming weaker and weaker. I won't get into that whole history, but I just want to share with you, I remember my mother, she refused to leave my brother alone. So 24/7, one member of our family was there with him. And so there were many hours of time when I would be there with him. And I remember during those times, every so often, some nurse might come in and she would, it was usually a she, and the nurse would shift my brother and maybe turn him over, or, make whatever adjustments they needed to. And then they would check in with him, and most of those nurses were really, really nice people. They were really genuinely caring about my brother and wanting to make sure that he had everything that he needed and that he was comfortable. So they would ask him, that if he was okay. If, for example, maybe they just adjusted his pillows, or under his, behind his back, or under his head, or, whatever. And they would check in with him. Is that okay? Is that good? And in general, my brother's response was, yes, everything's fine. Thank you very much. And as often as not, once the nurse was gone, he would call me to him. And he would ask me to make more adjustments to his pillow or to his sheets or whatever it was, until it was just right. So why did he wait till the nurses left and ask me to make those further adjustments? Why didn't he just ask those nurses? Because he felt conscious. He felt a sense of, like, I don't want to trouble these nurses. I don't want them to have to spend 2 minutes here standing next to me, adjusting and readjusting my pillows and my sheets and all that. I don't want to bother them. But with me, he didn't have that sense of hesitation. With me, he didn't feel like he was bothering me, or, asking for anything that was unreasonable or anything like that. For us, it's part of our daily routine, me and my brother. I know, like, his routine. I know his signals. I know, like, when he needs something more. And he feels free to ask me. And I really think that this is because of this experience of love that we have with each other, this sense of oneness that we share with one another. It's like, when you get into bed, you'll take all the time and effort you need to get your pillows and your bed sheets just right, and you don't think that's a bother. That's an important thing that you need to do to be comfortable, and you will make yourself comfortable, right? And you don't think it's weird or burdensome or bothersome to do that. So when you feel as one, when you experience a sense of oneness with another, I don't feel like it's weird or burdensome or bothersome to do it for my brother either. Because when I do it for him, it's like I'm doing it for myself. And because he reciprocates that feeling of oneness, he doesn't think it's like anything weird when he asks me to do it. But with the nurse, he doesn't share that same bond with the nurse. So he feels awkward. So that's, wow, what a difference it can make when our relationship is grounded and based in this sense of oneness and this experience of love as oneness. But you know what? This sense of love is grounded in compassion and empathy. That's right. Because, look, when my brother, he there's no doubt, has certain habits. He likes his routines. And sometimes even if you make a little change to his routine, it can upset him. And for somebody who's an outsider, who doesn't know him, who doesn't understand him, may not understand that. I mean, for example, when we put him to bed, I place one pillow under his right leg and one pillow under his left leg. And there is a pillow that goes under his right leg, and it's always that same pillow that goes under his right leg. If I put that pillow under his left leg, that's not okay. So it's just a little thing, and someone else may be like, what's the big deal? Just get over it. But I don't do that to him, because I understand where he's coming from. You know, with everything that is out of his control in his life, I understand from a perspective of empathy and compassion that he has a need to experience a sense of power and control in his life. And when you have a routine and you can depend on that routine and do everything according to that routine, it creates a sense of predictability. And when you have that sense of predictability, it gives you a sense of power and control. And I know that this need for power and control in our own lives is a universal human need. We all have it. I have it too. And we all express it and strive to meet this need in our lives in different ways. And these routines that my brother has is just one of the ways in which he does the best he can to meet his need for exercising some kind of power and control in his life. And so, grounded in this compassionate and empathetic perspective, I'm able to exercise a level of patience in dealing with him, in meeting his requests, that goes beyond tolerance. Tolerance is a very low standard, actually, if you think about it. You really have to learn to move beyond tolerance. And it is this kind of empathy and compassion that allows me to do it for my brother. Right? And this empathy and compassion, understanding things from his perspective, being able to imagine myself in his shoes and recognizing that, hey, I have the same underlying need. And if I was in his place, I might react in this way too. Bam. That is what gives birth to the love. That sense of oneness. The ability to share in his perspective because of the empathy, because of the compassion that is a result of the empathy and the compassion. So yes, absolutely. Love is born of compassion. This is the experience of my life. So think about who you have in your life that you want to improve your relationship with, strengthen your relationship with, and exercise your compassion muscle. Build it up in your relationship with them. And you know how to do that, not only based on what we have been talking about today, but remember, go back to, I think it was 2 episodes ago, when we talked about a very specific exercise you can engage in to build your compassion muscle. Okay? So until we connect next time, I just want to remind you to show me some love by going to iTunes and leaving the show a 5-star rating. And until we connect next time, I wish you lots of peace and joy.